What's going on, stretch and release? Today we are working with 10 different stretches and rolls. You are going to want a foam roller and we're gonna stretch out the lower body today. I've got my shoes off. The first stretch we're gonna start out with, we're gonna work 1 minute on each stretch. This first one I like to call broken toe stretch. Really, we're just getting a good stretch through the toes and feet. So we're gonna go ahead and start on the clock. What I want you to do is just go ahead and curl those toes in. We're gonna sit back towards the heels. And what I want you to do is we're just gonna kind of work back and forth. I'm gonna ease off pressure, work back, put a little bit of pressure through the balls of the feet. Working those arches. I'm gonna start to kind of take the heels out a little bit wider. Bring the heels in towards the inside. We're gonna work back and forth for about 60 seconds. You find a spot that feels really tight, tender. What I want you to do is really concentrate. You can even use your hands to help push the heels down. So basically we're going to start at the feet and we're going to work our way all the way up to the hip with 10 different stretches and rolls. The next one we're going to start out with 30 seconds each side foam roller right on the outside of the shin. So I want you to stack that shin up. And we're going to do a nice gentle roll back and forth, 30 seconds. If you elevate that hip, that's going to increase that pressure. I'm also stacking that leg on top. The specific spot I like to target is right here below that fibula bone. You've got a lot of different origin insertion points over that general area, a lot of crisscrossing tendons, ligaments. Nice stubborn muscles. We're going to go ahead and switch to the other side. So you've got, even more particular, your tibialis anterior peroneals. That tibialis, if you've ever had shin splints, that's kind of the muscle and area that's responsible. So we want to give that some love, get all of that tissue nice and supple. So next one on our list, we're going to come all the way back, just like that broken toe stretch, only we're going to this time lay the ankles flat with the toes back behind us. And I'm going to sit back onto those ankles. It's called a Caesar stretch. So with this, I'm going to start to walk my knees out just a little bit. Depending on how much you're sitting down onto those ankles, you can also be up here nice and high and just work on using the legs to create a little bit of weight. For my super flexible people, you can come back to the elbows, maybe even lie down on the floor. What I want you to do is just try to sink and work your way down towards the floor. We'll go about another 10 seconds. Enough time to take a deep breath in. Exhale and sink. Good. We're going to relax those ankles. Next, we're going to work the calves. Flip it on over. We're going to go ahead and stack one calf on top of the other. And we're going to do a nice gentle roll, basically working just below the knee to a little bit above the ankle. I'm also going to kind of turn inside outside. Work all around that gastroc. And then you got a little deeper muscle called your soleus inside there. Two muscles of the calf. We're going to go ahead and switch to the other side. Same thing, about 20-30 seconds on this side. Really start to push down. Make that tissue nice and soft. Increase blood flow. Help all those muscles, tendon, ligaments glide over each other. Next one, we're going to pop that foam roller out. We're going to do a forward fold with a hamstring stretch. So I want you to start to fold forward. Nice and slow. This is where we're really going to work that breath. So as you breathe out, Sink just a little bit farther forward. You can utilize those shins, toes to help kind of pull yourself. Soften the back, soften the hips. It's also called a seated pike stretch. One more big deep breath. Big exhale. From here, we're gonna foam roll the hamstrings. We're gonna do both at the same time. All right, from here, I'm gonna go all the way from the bottom of the glute all the way to the top of the knee. Once you've rolled right down the middle for a few passes, I want you to angle a little bit to one side, creating a little bit more pressure on top of that leg. We start to get into where that hamstring innervates with the IT band. We get a little bit of both. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Working that outer part of the hamstring. So while we're here on this foam roller, next we're going to work the glutes. So I'm going to work my way back up, flip over to the other side, and this time I'm going to work all the way from top of my hip down to the bottom of the glute here. So a couple ways you can do this. You can keep that leg straight, slide that heel across the floor, or if you want to target a little bit more outer glute, you can crisscross, and then that cross leg, we're going to target that glute med. You can do a little roll up and down. You can also go side to side, explore a little bit with it, and then switch sides. Same thing. Maybe start with a little straight leg. Work that entire tissue. Good, same thing. Crisscross. Outer glute here. So 10 stretches, 10 minutes is what we're targeting when you finish up today. If there's any particular one there like, ooh, I feel a little tense, a little tight on that, what I want you to do is go ahead and repeat that one, maybe spend a little bit extra time in it. But this gives you a little bit of variety, kind of working our way up and down the system. All right, next one, we're gonna flip it over to our quads. So now working the anterior muscle groups. So we're gonna spend about 20 seconds up and down, similar to how we did the hamstrings. And then this time, instead of the outer, we're gonna target the inner thigh. So after you've done a few passes there, we're gonna angle that foam roller off to the side, treat it like a body pillow. And we're gonna still go up and down that leg here, perpendicular 90 degrees. Working the inside of the thigh. We'll do the same thing on the other side. Flip it over, swing that leg over. I'm going to use my top hand to kind of push down. Get some good work through that tissue here. Get the legs feeling really good for any workouts that we got going on this week. Recovering from any workouts from this past week. Perfect. All right. The last one with the foam roller, we're going to hit the hip flexor. I'm going to work on the outer and front edge of that hip. So I'm going to lie that directly on that roller here. From here, I'm going to pick up my back foot and I'm going to swing it out wide and down towards the floor. So this spot specifically targets the TFL, tensor fascia latte. Sounds like a Starbucks drink. Really good hip flexor muscle there. We're going to switch to the other side. Also a nice rotator of the hip. Does a lot of different things. Good, so I'm pushing down deep. You'll know when you find it, when you push that foot down, and you feel that hip light up a little bit. That's one that needs a little bit of TLC. Perfect. Final stretch of the 10. We're going to finish out with a hip flexor stretch. So what I'm going to do is get my front foot 90 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and sink forward and down. I want to make sure I'm able to squeeze that back glute. If you're too far and you're not able to squeeze that glute, I want you to back out of it. Make sure you're able to keep glutes, abs tight. We want to still be able to control that neutral pelvis. We're going to spend about 30 seconds each side. Good, let's switch legs. Same thing on the side, give me 90 degrees. Squeeze that glute, squeeze those abs, push forward. Get a good stretch. You might feel it on the front side of that back leg. You also might feel it out here into this hip flexor. You could even push that knee out, get a little bit of movement, rotation. Don't feel like you're restricted to any particular standard. Everybody has different mobility, ranges of motion, and we kind of want to explore those. And relax, excellent. Again, hit those extra stretches, spend a little bit extra time for any of those that you felt like you could use a little bit more work in. Appreciate you guys. Stay tuned, more for awesome classes this week and another stretch release next week.